We are conducting candidate interviews sponsored by the Basehor Community Library, supported by the League of Women Voters of Leavenworth County. Recordings of each interview will be posted on the library's website. As a reminder, the election is November 4th and early voting starts October 15th. Registration for voting ends October 14th. So if you are not registered, change your name or address, register at the courthouse or kansasvotes.org, ksvotes.org. My name is Rachel Hissong, Director of the Basehor Community Library. And with us is Mr. Michael Roe, who is running as a City Council candidate for the City of Basehor. Michael will be introducing himself and answering a few questions for voters. Thanks for taking the time today, Mr. Roe, and please start with your introduction.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for having me here. Like I said, we kind of talked about it a little bit before this interview, but I really appreciate the fact that you all are putting this information out there and giving local voters the opportunity to kind of hear from candidates prior to the election and hopefully help kind of streamline what direction they're wanting to go when they get ready to cast those votes. Like Rachel said, my name is Michael Roe. I've worked out here for the community since 2016. And then in 2021, my wife and I made the move from Bonner Springs out here. Um, Thoroughly enjoy living out here. Absolutely great community, great schools. Feel very confident knowing that my kids are going to get a quality education by going to school out here. And like I said, just thoroughly enjoy every aspect of this community.
Thank you. Now on to the questions. What are the 3 things you want to work for and support if you are elected?
Absolutely great question. First thing, and I believe that the city has already done a good job in upping this process and making this process better, but just encouraging community participation with the local government. I really want to make sure that any citizen that has a concern or positive feedback or anything, any information they want to go to the city, I want them to feel like they're heard. I want to encourage quality professional communication between citizens and city council members, city staff, and just kind of helping to find a way to streamline that process and make things really efficient. So that, like I said, so that those citizens feel that their voices are heard. The second thing would be it's not a shocker that Basehor continues to be one of the top, I'd say, 5 fastest growing cities in the state. And with that, I want to ensure that we continue to have smart development in the city, um, especially on the commercial side, having access to K7 to State Avenue, hopefully in the future to I-70, really opens some avenues for commercial development within the city. And commercial development gets taxed at a lot higher rate than what residential properties do. So if we can encourage more commercial growth, whether that be small business, big business, entrepreneurs, anything that's going to create jobs within our community, hopefully down the road that can help to offset that residential tax burden that a lot of citizens are feeling in this community right now. And then the last aspect of that would be ensuring that we continue to develop smart, affordable housing within our community. We have a lot of really big, beautiful homes in this community. And the downside to that is some of these different positions, whether that be firefighters, police officers, teachers, even city staff, a lot of those individuals can't afford to actually live here in the community that they've chosen to work in. I know that our firefighters at the Fairmount Township Fire Department, when they first start out, there's no way they could even think of affording a home in this community. And I'd just like to see some other options brought in that maybe open some more avenues for those employees that have chosen those types of career fields. And then the third point, sorry, I kind of got sidetracked there, but the third thing I'd like to see, and again, I think the city's done a really good job of this the last few years, is just ensuring that we still continue to grow safe, clean, and connected neighborhoods. They've done a lot of work with the sidewalks and the streets, and I want to hopefully be a part of seeing that continue to grow. If you live over off of 166th Street, here in the future, you'll have the ability to walk to City Park, and then you can walk to Tomahawk Park. A lot of it has gone on in a lot of the newer neighborhoods, but it would be really nice to see that same connectivity go on from the north side of the city to the south side of the city and everywhere in between. You know, if you want to get with your kids or your spouse and ride your bike or walk to one of the local parks, you should have that ability in a safe, clean environment.
What are the 3 things you would like to get rid of or change?
I think it's something that you always have to be cautious of in any form of government, any entity that utilizes tax dollars is just ensuring that there's no wasteful spending or inefficiencies within that organization. So making sure that the tax dollars that are coming in are being spent in a manner that the citizens expect it to be spent in, and that there's no costly overhead with that spending. The second thing would be kind of going back to the first question, but just ensuring that there's no barriers to those community engagements. If somebody picks up the phone and has a genuine concern for the city, then that concern should be addressed as quickly and efficiently as possible. Um, kind of joke with my wife. She knows that I'm not a patient person, so especially when concerns or something like that are addressed, and I'm the same way at work. If something is brought up that needs to be addressed, then it needs to be addressed as quickly as possible and as efficiently as possible. And then just having that communication to follow up with whoever had voiced the concern and making sure that they know that it was heard and that it was addressed and that steps are being taken to resolve it. I think will go a long way for communication with the city. And then the last thing, it kind of ties to the stuff that we've already talked about, but just any neglected infrastructure in the community. They're doing a great job right now of putting an asphalt overlay down on a lot of the streets in the northeast part of the city, but just continuing to make sure that we're making those kinds of improvements so that no matter where you live in the city, you're entitled to the same quality infrastructure that the newer parts of the city have, and anywhere in between. And then making sure that we develop a way to have that long-term investment for those upgrades, making sure that steps are in place to ensure that those streets and those sidewalks and those parks are going to be maintained into the future for, somebody's kids and their grandkids and just whoever wants to use them moving on into the future.
What are 3 strengths or experiences that you want the voters to know about you?
I think one of my strongest traits, which I kind of joke is passed down from my dad. He did not know a stranger. So I think with 20 years working in public safety and what was taught to me by him kind of gave me the ability to just be able to sit down with anybody and have a respectful, polite conversation, knowing that two people aren't always going to agree on their topics, and that's completely fine. I don't expect everybody within the city to agree with what my thought process might be, but if anybody ever has any questions about why I think or what I do, I'm more than happy to sit down and talk to anybody and like I said, have that respectful conversation. So, like I said, I think gift from dad with that and the career field that I've chosen has kind of given me some pretty strong communication and leadership skills, which I think would be a very strong suit in this position. Another strength that I've got is I made the decision not necessarily right when I was 18 and out of high school, a little bit later in life in my mid 20s, but to go back to school and finish my education, where I obtained a bachelor's degree in fire science and then for some reason just decided that wasn't enough and went back for a few more years to get a master's degree in organizational leadership. And I think that a lot of the classes that I took and different projects that we did for that degree, um, albeit I'm in a fire protection career field, it also has some overlay into to all forms of government and all organizations with the leadership aspects that came from that. And then the last thing that I want people to know is I fully understand that I have not spent my entire life here. I wasn't fortunate enough to be raised here, but in the short time that we have been out here, we thoroughly love the city and all aspects of it. And I know that nothing's perfect, but boy, it sure could be a lot worse. So we really enjoy the city. We really enjoy the schools. Um, and again, just hope for the best in the future for the city and want to do my part to ensure that all citizens' voices are heard when it comes to the local government and hopefully help steer Basehor into the future.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Finally, I will give you the last word for a wrap up. Thank you for running for office and sharing your perspective with us.
Oh, I appreciate it. Again, thank you guys very much for putting this on. I think it's a great tool to get different candidates' voices out there into the community, and kind of give people that opportunity to hear a candidate's thought process prior to the election. Um, Again, really, that's it. Thank you for the opportunity. Again, my goal is to ensure that, if elected into this position, that it is not what's best for, citizens of Group A or citizens of Group B. My thought process on any project that comes into the city, I currently serve on the Planning Commission, and even in that role, my thought process is whatever is the greatest good for the most citizens in this community, is the direction that I want to go. So, again, thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.